Hello, Amy Elizabeth, somatic and intuitive healer here. And I am here with Becca Hunnicut, shadow worker and dear friend of mine. Hi, Becca. How are you doing today?
Hi, Sassy. I am good. Having fun.
Wonderful. So I don't know about you as a shadow worker, which I know is part of your like, I am a shadow worker. I do the things, I go into the depths. I don't bypass, I don't buy into the froofy, new agey, let's just not deal with anything. How are things feeling for you right now in these final 2 weeks before this big South Node eclipse?
They're feeling like when I feel into the collective, they're feeling harried, terror, that whole like running around the street with torches, chickens with their heads cut off thing. Like that's the energy that I've been noticing from everybody. What can I grab? What can I hang on to? How can I ground? How can I like anything to just like survive this, I think would be the most accurate way I can describe the energy.
Yes, I agree. It feels really survival push. Um, it feels like there is the collective unconscious fear of death as an end.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It feels like it's really loud. Astrologically, Pluto went direct on the 8th, and he is now in this 6 month journey to March 23rd, 2023, where he will enter Aquarius. He'll hit 0 degrees of Aquarius that day. And he hasn't made this journey through these final stages of Capricorn since 1778. Been a hot minute. And me, with my shamanic background and my personal background, I am really comfortable with death. It is not a place I get sticky or squeegee. Do I grieve the idea of my death from a standpoint I will miss the people I love, and I won't be able to hug my kid again, even though I know I will be in his business. um, yes, but I don't have this death grip that I'm seeing. Um, and this period from, especially after the new moon where it was conjunct Chiron, what is our wound, and going deeper into our wound, it was a sweet lovely full moon, because Venus was a part of it and she is there, and it was sticky because dealing with the places we're hurt is always sticky. And I know that you really specialize in deep diving into the places we hurt and how we avoid them.
Yeah, and I love the way you worded it. Like that we're basically in relationship with death right now. Like this is a huge thing. It's a massive change, and the thing that's kind of weird about it that I think is why people are freaking out right now is because the major shift is in the energetics of what's going on. So it's in the unseen realms. It's not in the physical. Like, yes, things are happening in the physical because we're resisting the change in the energetic. But what's interesting to me is it's like, how do I resist something that I can't see, right? So this is why it's like, I feel it, but I don't know how to, yeah, I can't, And it's like when you talk about it being, yes, we're in a death cycle. In my world, I navigate everything by paying attention. Am I in death, life, death, or rebirth? Where am I? Sometimes I'm in between. This is a huge death cycle for the planet of energy and how we have energetically allowed ourselves to kind of be swept away by conditioning, constructs, patriarchy. We've all heard all this crap, but it's not to demonize any of it. It's to just like it's to notice like this is how we're waking up from it, which is why we feel so disoriented. It's like Like any new beginning, confusion is a doorway. So it's, if you're confused, if you don't know what's going on, that's a good thing. Like, let that be okay. What's happening is the mind, that is the thing who has analyzed everything, and that false narrative of, if I know, then if I know what's happening, then I can navigate it. If I know what's happening, then I know how to feel, is a full on bullshit, middle finger, high to the sky lie. Just full on lie. And this is the shit that's dying. So it's just all these undershadow lies that are being literally wiped out so that we can end up, what I feel we're being pointed toward is end up making choices not based on like, well, does it make sense? And like, well, I know I should go to this, but I don't want to go to this, but so and so is going to be butthurt if I, like, who fucking gives a shit? What the hell do you want to do? Just because you're you. You're an expression of the divine. Does it feel good to go? We're moving into intuitively making decisions about, oh, well, that makes my whole body light up. Yeah, I want to go to that thing. Or, God, no, it just feels so heavy. I just want to stay. I don't need a reason. I don't need to justify it. I don't need to explain my fucking self to you. I just get to do what the fuck I want to do because I feel good about doing it. Or I don't. Or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that you're framing this as the disorientation of waking up, because I think everybody can really lean into the time, the between space, the bardo, which when you brought into that, I'm between birth, life, or death, those between spaces in the Tibetan um, uh, theology are called the bardo. They're the between spaces where we don't really know what direction we're going. And there's a disorientation, and we are really, really in the bardo right now.
Yes, 100%.
And feeling, allowing ourselves to feel the disorientation, allowing ourselves to feel our neuroses and watch our neuroses kick up and want to manage the hell out of all the things. Because of course our neuroses bubble up when we're in a place of not knowing, when we're in a place of disorientation, and being in relationship with death, which is working on these unseen realms to raise our entire vibration. You know, to experience an apocalypse is just to simply have things revealed.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, yes.
And we're in this sixth extinction event. You hear scientists talk about it. Those of us who are thought leaders have been talking about it. We've all been in it. You know, Andrew Harvey has been saying for quite some time that Golden Collie is in her final state of destruction. And life is going to go on.
Yep.
Are we going to, though, surrender what we know to move into a more aligned way of life? Or are we going to be part of what exits the physicality of the planet for the survival of the whole?
Yes, woman. Fuck yes. There's so much fire in that truth right there, and I fucking love it. I think I find that absolutely fucking beautiful and true. And the other part about me that people listening might not know is that, well, yes, I deal with the shadow and all this stuff. I also do, I live in a lot of, like, my nature is to be in a lot of dark goddess energy. So even if it claims my life, I'm like, fucking light it up. Like, I just get so off on that. And so when you're talking about, like, am I going to stay and am I going to shift, or am I going to, like, basically die so I don't have to deal with this shit and make way for the new? Yeah, shit or get off the pot. Like, this is exactly where the fuck we are right now. And our mind does not know what's happening. And you mentioned, God, what did you say? Totally. Yes, the surrender thing. I was so talking about that yesterday. Because it's like, I'm really good with visuals. So it's like, you're in an ocean. There is no fucking land. There's a giant storm above you. So are you gonna get on the fucking surfboard and just see where it takes you and be like, wee, I have no idea what the fuck is going on, but I'm here and it's happening? Or am I going to stand there with my surfboard trying to like stop the wave and resist the wave from coming? Because there's so much energy in trying to resist the shit that's gonna take you anyway. So it's like, if I can just like get on the fucking shit, my choices are lay there and see what happens. Make a choice when it's like, well, when the sun comes out, do I want to be in the water? Do I want to be on my board? When it's raining, do I want to be like under the board with it protecting me and my body in the ocean? Or do I want to be on my board trying to navigate this? That's all you have to do is make choices. But when we're trying to like create our choices, control our choices, and navigate those choices all on ourselves, we're getting in fucking God's business, like spirit, God, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And that is none of my goddamn business. So this is like, to me, I look at it as like a return to God, which is like the little Christian people like, yes, Jesus is coming. So, but it's not in the way that I think a lot of people thought it was going to happen. It's literally going, where is your truth? Are you moving from love or fear? That's the great divide right now. And in my space, I noticed that happen in 2008. It was like an energetic earthquake happened under me, and I saw this crevice open up where it was like, love is on one side, fear is on the other. And it showed me over years, this is going to get divided, more divided, more divided, until you have to pick a side. And those who are going to go toward controlling or trying to mentally navigate this are going to end up in a world of hurt because you can't navigate it with the mind. Those who are just like doing, being disoriented, be in the process of what are you feeling, not give a shit about what it looks like or what the mind stories has to tell about it. Like, I don't have any energy to waste on that. It's happening to me. Present moment says, I'm having a feeling. What the fuck is it? Let me feel it. Oh, there I am. It's
Yeah,
a stronger place to be, even though it's way more, I really don't know how to be here. It's kind of like trial by fire.
it really, really is. And I love your ocean analogy. I have been using an implosion explosion analogy because so many of our structures are falling.
Yes.
And when you conceptualize these structures as buildings, when we go in to take down a big building, we have a couple of ways we can do it. We know that that building is coming down. So we can actively choose to participate in it. We can make the choice to say, we see this is happening. And you clear everybody out of the building, you set up a perimeter, and you implode it. Boop, it falls down. That is as safe as it can happen. Either way, that building is coming down. And the other option is that building's going to come down through a collapse or an explosion or something where way more people are going to get hurt, and way more is going to be damaged than needs to be, because we're busy slapping band-aids on a building rather than recognizing, oh, this thing is past its usefulness here. We have outgrown it, and the seams are splitting on the pants. Like, they're just, my kid put on his snow pants yesterday try him on, see what was gonna fit. He comes out and he's like, Mom, the seam is touching my crotch. That situation, the seam is touching your crotch and you don't want the seam touching your crotch. So you can choose to surrender those snow pants. Let those go. And it's not trying to control the snow pants. You're choosing to set that aside and let it go, because control is such a fear. It's such a, how tightly can I hold on to this thing and manage it? Tell us a little bit more about dark goddess energy and what that looks like and how that plays in with everything going on right now. How you're seeing it.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, it gives me a very different perspective than most people are having. So while most people are like, oh God, how do I navigate the unnavigatable? Like, for me, there's just it's part of what facilitates my ability to surrender, because I know that if my body dies, I'm not dead. I'm energy. I get to come back again. And I am very in touch with my soul as the truth of who I am, not my body. I mean, I still fall into that every once in a while, but it's like death is just another journey thing. Like, I physically have a internal in my body relationship with that energy, and I know that it is the truth for me. It isn't just something I say or that I think I'm supposed to believe or whatever the fuck it is. It's like I don't care. However, I'm here to be of use for whatever is happening, and whatever I'm experiencing is what the hell I'm here for, however long it is or isn't. And the other part of that for me is like Collie's one of my girls. Like, I just love her, and she's big ass goddess of basically telling you the fucking truth. And I have to look at myself as part of that truth. Like, I can't go around slaying everybody else with my sword of a tongue and not slay myself. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I have to consider myself a part of this collective. It isn't like, oh, I'm Becca, I know what all you people are going through and here's what's going to go down. Like, yeah, but my ego and my twistedness and my defense is in the way of that. And yes, there's part of my witch who's been here for thousands of years that is like, I can't wait to see this motherfucker fall down. But there's also like, when through my open heartedness about it, there's like, I cannot wait for this to fall down, because the creation that is going to come through here and the ability we're going to have to really connect with each other, really have intimacy, really have like an experience of feeling each other on an open heart level is going to change the world. The things that are going to be created from that are super exciting. So yes, I am very excited to see shit fall to hell. Partly because my defended cranky witch is like, you had it coming. And the other part is because it's that point of destruction, point of creation thing, where it's like, there's a fire in the mountains that just happened. Well, these trees have to burn in order for the new life that's underneath them to even be generated. Without the fire, that life won't even be generated. And to me, this is where we are. And I am excited about that. And because I know in my little puny brain can like get the words out about the concept. You can hear I'm struggling right now.
You're doing
Doesn't
great.
mean I know what that's about. That's what I'm trying to, like, it isn't mine to do. Just because I can name it doesn't mean I have any control over it. Doesn't mean I'm any better off. I'm going through the same fucking shit. My orientation is just burn it all down, even if it includes me with it. And that excites me to actually say, I don't want to go, but if that's what's on the plan, then fucking let's do it. I'm not concerned about my lowly little life. So I'm operating from a different, larger perspective that is like, I am the world, I am the universe, I am this shit, and I really feel it in my body. And so I want to be of service to that energy, however the fuck I'm here to be of service to that.
Yeah, I love that. I also am excited for this change and have been very, very much in the consciousness of death, and that we cannot have a death without a birth.
Yep.
That they are so entwined. And when we move from a place of conscious birth and conscious death, I think about the conscious uncoupling phenomenon that has been rising,
yeah.
where people go into the disillusion of their romantic relationships, recognizing that we've been on parallel tracks and I'm going over here and you're going over there. And I can love you and not be in romantic relationship with you.
Yep.
Because our learning is different. So yes, this rise in our awareness.
Yes.
Around this is an ending, but it's only ending because there's a beginning coming. And it is an energetic ending. Like, we're so in those unseen energetic realms.
Yep.
And we wouldn't be in this death phase if something wasn't waiting to be born.
Yes.
As somebody who has had a human baby,
Mm-hmm.
what we don't talk about often is with that birth comes a death,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
and really a lot of death, a lot of who a woman is before she has a baby has to die so
Yeah.
that her mother self can be born.
Yeah, woman.
Child.
Oh.
And for men who are conscious and part of that event,
Mm-hmm.
they have to go through an initiation of death also. We're in an initiation.
Yes.
We're in a major shamanic initiation. And well, yeah, the push is energetic,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to be seeing the boots on the ground, three-dimensional parts of what is dying die.
Yep.
It's also the, like, how present can we be with feeling all of the feels so that we're not in a spin cycle
Yeah.
where we're like, oh yep, there I was sad, and we move around it,
Mm-hmm.
and we think that because we saw it, we're like, oh, I'm sad, but I'm releasing that because I saw it, so, and now I'm saying I'm releasing it. Like, we need to go into, I talked about being the buffalo, I think it was last week with everybody.
Mm.
um the buffalo goes into the storm
Mm-hmm.
and feels it, does the thing, go into the storm, feel the feels. Don't, because in feeling the things and
Mm-hmm.
going through it, we don't end up putting anything in our energetic backpack
Yep.
that we then haul along behind us.
Uh-huh.
And by feeling the thing and being present with it, we're not trying to project ourselves out into the future,
Yeah.
which is where we develop our anxiety. And if we're just like, oh, I see that I'm sad and I release that sadness, what we do is create an energetic spin
Mm-hmm.
that holds us in place.
Yep.
And it ends up actually settling in our body is what we call energy cysts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, just
I call that
no
circling the drain.
bypassing people.
Yeah, 100% it's bypassing. I call that circling the drain.
Mhm.
It's part of why I got in to shadow work, is once I realized, oh, I'm going to end up in the heart of this shit anyway. Why circle the drain pretending that I'm not going down there? And look at all these years I wasted circling the drain when I'm going to end up here anyway. Why not dive down and fucking just deal with it head on? I don't want to waste any more years circling the drain, telling myself, oh, I'm dealing with it because I'm analyzing it and I'm processing it and I'm doing all these things. I got so hooked in that defensive mechanism where it was like, yes, you need the mind for a little bit of it, but honestly, I bypassed so much shit because I did not want to drop in. I did not. I was avoiding feeling the pain. And when we avoid feeling the pain, we can't heal. So the wounds that you're feeling were not created in the mind. They were emotional. Below your neck, bitches. They're below your neck. All right. So my mind cannot heal that shit. Okay. So this is my analogy yesterday. Like, can you imagine your liver going, oh, it's my job to breathe. It's my job to breathe for this person's body. No. How is that going to go? My liver doesn't have the capacity to fucking breathe for my body. My lungs, that's their job. And if my liver is trying to do the job of my fucking lungs, my lungs are never going to be working. They're going to atrophy. I'm going to die. This is how it is. My mind cannot fix this shit. You have to drop into the emotions, because the other thing I was doing is like, okay, I got a paper cut. Ow, my finger hurts. Well, does knowing that a paper cut did it help you heal it? No, it doesn't. I'm still in fucking pain. I can't feel that. It's like, and you watch these little kids who it's like Johnny fell down and scraped his knee. My life life is over. Well, okay, the minute the pain stops for him, but he's feeling, he goes right into it. He doesn't think about it. Well, I fell down and hit my head or scraped my knee. So by definition, I'm going to be in pain for a minute, and then I'll tell you, no. I fall, I scream bloody murder, I think my life is over, I drop into the depths of that shit, and then 5 minutes later I'm like, Tina's at the park, let's go! Like, I'm over it.
Yeah.
That's the cycle of emotion. Emotion does not work. It's like, emotion works at the speed of light if you will just drop the fuck in. The mind is when it's going to take you years to get through this because you think you have to process it all. You think you have to whatever the fuck. And this is the difference between top down, which is thinking first, using the mind to buffer on the way down to emotion, versus bottom up, which is feel it first, let the mind support you in what's happening. It goes so much faster when you're bottom up than it does when you're top down because your mind is the only thing that's going to judge you or judge it, make up stories, keep you from it, defend yourself from feeling anything. If I go straight to my heart first, now my mind's job is, how do I support her in healing this? Because she already felt it. It's a much quicker healing process.
Yeah. And I think it's also important to, I don't know about you, but the acknowledging, at least for me, that yes, sometimes going in and dropping into some of those things, especially when we have trauma or stories around them, is scary.
Yeah.
And I know for me, I have experiences when I am dropping in and going into something to feel feels, and I can only get so far. And then I have to just comfort my body and take care of me and come back to it. Like I'm in a process that like just took a huge step forward this morning, very unexpectedly, that I've been in for like 6 weeks. And when I started the process 6 weeks ago, I definitely had that very human thing of, we're back here doing this. Haven't we done enough of this?
That's all the mind. Yep.
And we're on a spiral path. You know, shamanism teaches us we're walking a spiral. And whether you're walking a spiral into your center or whether you're moving from your center out to expand yourself, we're walking a spiral path. And when in walking a spiral path, we're going to come up against, you know, the same slice of pie of that spiral with that same issue.
100%.
From a different place. And so just a reminder, I know from me to like everybody to be really gentle with yourself. Because yes, even those of us who facilitate this work professionally, when we go into our stuff,
it's the same as you.
We can hit the, oh my God, this is too much. Get me out of here.
Yes.
And it is going back and visiting it again and being with it and recognizing I got this much more into it, this much further into it. And I'm going to keep going back and I'm going to keep letting myself go and pushing myself in the spaces that I feel that I can. And then, this morning, like the doors blew off. And the thing that I've been fighting to do, because I knew, like, from the first thing, I knew I'm like, oh, this specific thing is what needs to be done here. And I literally couldn't do it. My body had such a violent reaction to it that it's taken me 6 weeks of working with this almost daily. And I set aside like a 15-minute container. And when I say 15 minutes, I set a timer.
Yeah.
So that when that timer goes off, my nervous system can say, okay, we did what we could in 15 minutes. And now what do we need to do to set this back, to set this aside for right now and come back to what I need to do as a business owner and a parent and a homeowner and a friend and a daughter and all of the other hats that I wear. What about you, Becca? What's been your experience?
Yeah, it's a
I don't
really,
want to go there.
you're so funny. You're like, I don't want to go there. Um, I'm a little less, I've become a little less structured about how I do this. So for me, it's always been very fluid. Like when it's up, it's up. Because of my defense mechanisms and how I deal with stuff, I tend to numb out as my first point of defense. So it's like, there's nothing to feel when you're numb, right? So it's like I'm waiting for numb to just move on. And just because I use the word defense mechanisms, it doesn't mean there's anything bad or wrong with it. So for me, it's again, it's about permission and compassion. So it's like my body is saying, "Oh God, too much." So I have to numb out. And I'm like, okay. And again, I'm not choosing to numb out. This isn't like, oh, okay, this sounds too painful. Let me see if I can call numb up. Like, this is just your autonomic nervous system, which means it's happening automatically without my doing anything, right? It's the same part of you that breathes. You don't think about every fucking breath you're going to take. And so when that happens, I know for me, I just have to be very compassionate with myself and not go, well, I need to get in here and I need to do this. That's my mind. Oh, I see you, mind. This is what I do. Oh, I see you, mind. You have an agenda on how I heal this right now. What's really happening for you? I'm scared. Okay. See, now I just moved out of numb simply by questioning the mind's agenda. So it's like, okay, my little one is scared. My inner little one is scared because that's usually what the mind is representing. And it's like, oh, you're right. I am scared. Well, then just come sit with me for a minute. Okay. Okay. And this is my practice. Like, this is literally what I do. Put my hand on, where do I feel that in my body? What is the energy underneath my hands doing? Breathe into that. What's here now? And just get real present with it. And then if any feelings come up, let them happen. But most of the time, if I'm in numbed out, I will just say, you know what? It takes the time it takes. And I see that my body is protecting me, which means that some part of me is not ready to experience or explore this right now. And that's okay. Because the other thing that we do that it's painful for me to watch people do this. I think this is one of the things that I don't know if hate is the right word, but I don't like looking at is people who beat themselves up for doing the best they can, or for beating myself up because my autonomic nervous system is choosing for me. Well, if you knew how to do it differently, you would, but this is all happening in your subconscious. So the more that you're just like, oh my God, I should be doing this differently. God, I'm such a whore. God, I'm so stupid. God, what the fuck is my problem? God, why is this taking so long? That's going to take you longer. And if you just said, wow, it's taking the time it takes, and I have compassion for myself, because the thing that you need is now the thing you're keeping yourself from. And the thing that was done to you is now the thing you're doing to yourself unknowingly. And I just want to like go take the pot and pan out of those people's hands and say, stop beating yourself with that shit. Like, just come here. Come sit in my arms. Let's have a hug. Just fucking breathe. Just fucking breathe.
Yeah.
Just breathe. That's all I want to do. So
Yeah,
that's typically the tack I take with myself.
which is great. It's beautiful, and I think it invites everybody into recognizing like we all get to do this in our own way,
Yes.
and we're all working at our own pace. And what is going on cosmically and energetically and collectively, that is going to keep going on.
Yes. That's it.
It's going
Yes.
to
I
keep
love that
going
you name that.
on. And
So
it's
what is your
not,
relationship to that?
yeah, what's your relationship to that? And it's not going to get smaller.
And I
Like,
can't change it.
no, we're working, the frequency is increasing. And for me, what I'm feeling the ask as is, can you rise to meet this?
Yeah.
To rise, we need to vibrate off of the parts of us that are not healthy. And
Yeah.
and I look at all of the, well, just be happy and just smile and you'll feel better,
Yep.
and just relax in all of the beauty and just be in all the pleasure, and all of that is just such bypass. And yes, experience the beauty, be in the sensual nature of getting to have a body,
Yeah.
and feel all of the things. Like, don't just go towards the light. Recognize how important your dark is.
Well, there's two ways into that too, because it's like, for me, my dark is my light. So it's like, if you learn how, there's a power in learning how to ride death. You know what I mean? And death does not have to be scary. It's a word we're used to having a visual around, or having a construct around, or having a conditioning around, right? Death doesn't have to be a scary fucking thing. It's really only scary to the mind.
Yeah.
You ask anything again below your neck, it's really not scared of it. Death is change. They are one and the same. And you can do it with like pleasure and happiness, but not at a cost of bypassing what naturally comes up in the way of what you might label negative emotions as they arise to pass through you. It can still be a joy. I remember, like, I used to be so happy, like when I would cry, I would feel good when I was crying. I would be thanking, oh my God, I'm so grateful that I'm crying right now. I'm so grateful this has happened. Because I was grateful, I could feel myself. This is what it's about, a relationship with me. And if at any point I'm leaving myself behind in service of something else, I can't be whole. And if I can't be whole, I can't experience my divinity in this body, in this life. Without that, I'm going to always feel like I'm people pleasing or trying to get it right, or shoulda, woulda, coulda, whatever the fuck this is. But the minute that I go into what is my experience in this moment, what am I literally feeling? This is what we did naturally as kids. It's like, okay, yeah, I've grabbed my surfboard. The storm is here. I'm on top of it. I have no fucking control. So I'm just going to lay there and go, woohoo, I'm in this experience. Oh, God, this experience is getting really scary. Oh, God, I'm really scared. Whoo, okay, let the scare in. I'm going to shake my trauma. You know what I mean? It's like, it just happens to me. I'm not controlling it, and I'm not trying to get out of it. It's not like, okay, the storm is coming, everything's really bad, and but there's gonna be sun on the other side. I'm gonna survive it. Yeah, that's bypass. I'm not being present with it. I have to, if I allow myself to go through my own death in these little moments of, oh God, this storm of emotional whatever the fuck is coming to kill me. Let it fucking kill me, because it's killing away the old version of me so that the new version of me can be born. The stronger part that now all of a sudden doesn't need codependency. But until I let my codependent relationship die, and I let myself feel how attached I am to things, and I let that death wash over this, I can't show up as anything different. It's holding me back to not feel my own deaths when they come up in this way. They're only trying to make me bigger, stronger, better.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck would I stop that? Let's just fucking dive into it. I'm like, I want to get there faster. Right?
All of this
Yeah.
is why we fucking stop it.
Yes.
Like, neck up is
Neck up.
is why we stop it. Because we can't see it.
Yep. Yes. So this is,
We can't see it, and I think we also struggle to imagine what different could look like.
you can't. So this is the thing. Kyle C says this, and I love how he put it, is the mind can't see what you're going to lose, or what you're going to gain. It can only see what it's going to lose. This is why we need to not listen to the mind. But when you let go of what the mind thinks it knows, and you can just drop into, woohoo, I'm surfing, shit's going to come to you out of places you could not have imagined, because you couldn't have imagined it. And you're stuck on being attached to the way you imagine it. But if I can just release and let shit happen and go, oh, this is what I'm looking for. I've been practicing with, like, literally naming my mind shit when I'm in it. If I'm trying to be present with myself, or I'm trying to be present with a feeling, or whatever the fuck is happening for me. Mm-hmm. I don't even want to say trying, because that's still mental. It's like, now I hear the words. I notice where my mind is trying to masquerade as the heart, or the part of me that needs to do something to heal this. Mm-hmm. And so I've started to say, instead of saying, I'm trying to do da 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 da, I will go, oh, I see that my mind is trying to do this. I have to name it as mind, not me. If I'm identified with that, I miss that it's something trying to hold me back. And so I've had to get real clear on mind language versus heart language. And my heart language is always, I feel, one word. Not, I feel that if I do this, I'm going to do, whoop, you just got sucked up to the mind again, trying to pretend it's the heart. Right?
Yeah,
I
I love
feel,
that. Mind language versus heart language.
yeah, and you can hear it. So it's like these people that I have a client that I have been 4 weeks now, and we're like working on some of this, bringing the subconscious up, and her mind has learned skillfully how to use these tools that are supposed to drop her into her heart to bypass some of what she's supposed to be feeling. And I was like, oh, I go, okay. So we had to have a conversation about, hey, you're using this to go stop your feelings. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, that's not the point of this. It's not. No. What I'm like, it's supposed to be bringing it up so you can feel it. Oh, well, tell me how that goes, right? And this whole time I can see her mind is trying to figure out how that goes. So I took her through, some of that explanation on the process, and she was like, yeah, okay, okay. And then like 2 hours later, I got a phone call. Can you explain this to me again? Because I don't understand what I'm supposed to be doing about this. And I was like, good, now we're in the right place because you're in confusion. We have literally fucked your mind over, and it goes, I don't know how to control this. Bing, bong, bang, that's where we want to be. Now you can feel.
Uh-huh.
Now we can drop you into feeling because the doing is literally sitting there and feeling it without telling the fucked up stories about whatever is happening to you.
Yeah.
That's why I feel sad. I feel angry. I feel grief. Not because of that, because this happened. Nope, that's a story. Your mind just got a hold of you again. I feel feeling.
Yeah.
Where is that in my body? Stick my hands on it. Breathe into it. Feel it. Oh. And then my mind goes, oh, but I'm dying right now. Oh, you can't stop that. Don't try to stop it. Let it happen and go, I feel scared.
Mm-hmm.
My mind's running around. I feel scared. Oh, fuck. Okay, I felt that in my gut. Oh, shit. Okay, there my mind goes, oh, shit, right? But my hands go to my gut. Okay, what am I feeling in my gut? Swirling, nauseous, terror, chaos. I feel, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. That all just moved to my legs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is really interesting, right? It's just a process of getting in touch and following.
Yeah.
And
And it is
moving with,
really following and allowing the body, allowing the soma
yes.
to move through all of the pieces. You talked about that shaking in fear, and how often does everyone who's listening have experienced throughout your life the moment where you have suppressed
Yeah.
your body shake? Every single animal in nature goes through a basic healthy nervous system process where, after they have had a heightened nervous system experience, their body moves into a shake.
Mm-hmm.
And you can watch it happen with like big game ungulates,
Mm-hmm.
antelope, gazelle, white-tailed deer,
Fainting
where
goats.
yes, they will, once they've like done the running, and now I'm stopped and it's safe. And they do a full body shake.
Mm-hmm.
And for some of them, it will start at their heads and it'll just like wave through their body until their little tails do a little dance.
Mm-hmm.
Fainting goats,
Mm-hmm.
they will literally shake it off. And what that does is it completes the somatic cycle, the body
Yes.
cycle of not letting that trauma,
Mm-hmm.
not letting the fear get stuck in the body. And so that shaking piece that you brought up is so, so, so important. I do a shaking practice in the mornings when I need it, or I will spend, a minimum of 3 minutes up to 15 just doing a shake to help reset my nervous system
Yeah.
and to really ground me in for the day. I've got a variety of practices that kind of rotate through
I
in the
love that.
morning.
That's awesome.
and shaking is one of them. And all of us at some point in our lives have repressed a shake. And whether it is a fear shake, whether it is an orgasm shake,
Mm.
like our nervous system moves through big energetic things via shaking.
Mm-hmm.
there's a woman I follow who is former military, and she talks about going around to different camps to help them understand the neurology of trauma
I love
and
this.
how to move the trauma out of our military's physical bodies. And
Yes.
how often she will see a soldier come back from patrol and they will light a cigarette and realize that their hand is shaking, and they will actively stop the
Yeah.
shake because we have a collective mental story that feeling the feelings
Mm-hmm.
and allowing our body to process through it. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, I mean, shaking it somehow weakens us or makes us less,
Mm-hmm.
when really it's the healthiest thing we can do
Yep.
to move more deeply into our own resilience
Yeah,
and
one.
our own presence with our fabulous, miraculous meat suits.
Yes. I 100%. Yeah. This is so great. I love that we're talking about this because it's like it's another this is it's there's so much in here. Like I could talk about this shit for like 8 hours, but there's so much unconsciousness and shame that has been brought into this space where our autonomic response is to stop that shake from happening. That we don't physically, I mean, you can, sometimes you are, but it's just a really screwed up thing. And it is really fucked up because I know my experiences of doing that was every time I was in shock
Mm-hmm.
and I would go cold and my body would need to start doing this and I would just like hunker down and what you're like if you follow what you're physically doing where it's like my body I literally the shaking that wants to happen is I don't have control. I am not holding on to my body. I can't hold on is like what's kind of happening. And the fact that most of the time what will happen is we stiffen our muscles, we get bigger and stronger and we hunker down and we press so that they don't move. It's like there you can literally see where you're holding it in your body. Where are you hunkering down the hardest? Where have I hold my breath to stop the energy from moving out? Like people with active PTSD and anxiety do this all the time. A lot of the times they're holding their breath in their daily life where it's like, and you hear people doing this, they don't even know they're doing it. And it's literally interrupting that cycle that if it could complete itself, within 5 seconds, your whole life would be completely different. But we just can't let go of it.
We really can't. And this, taking it back then to the unseen energetics right now of death and what is going on with, we're headed towards the South Node eclipse on
Dun
the
dun
25th.
dun.
We're in an eclipse season, headed towards the eclipse portal. And for those of you that are working with me in Women's Circle, we're doing an active medicine walk where, what is our core wound? How far can we go into that so that we feel the things so we can release them? There's the South and the West. And we're going to be transitioning. And an eclipse portal really is an underworld journey. And for those of you that follow me, I have a little bit of an obsession with Anana,
I
who
do too. That's really funny.
who does this underworld journey. And right now, the asteroid Inanna in the sky has retrograded back and is exactly conjunct the North Node.
Interesting.
Uranus is nearby. They're in a 6-degree orb. Inanna, like her whole story is the underworld journey. Meanwhile, Venus, who the Sumerians recognized as Inanna, in the sky, she has gotten so close to the sun for her Libran sun point that she has entered the underworld.
Interesting.
So these opposite energies right now are dancing, and the sun is going to be in Scorpio with our friend Venus. So once these eclipses happen, everything in this eclipse season is answering to Pluto. The South Node is in Pluto's house hanging out. The North Node may be in Taurus with Inanna and Uranus, and they're answering to Venus, but Venus is moving into Taurus, into Pluto's house in Scorpio.
It's really interesting to me because when you say that, and I don't know, like I don't like use a lot of astrological terms. I kind of intuit what it is I hear, but when you say that, what I hear is they're changing their stories. Like I hear Inanna is changing the way this story is told. Doesn't change her journey, changes the way she's choosing to tell her story. And the same thing with Venus. Like that's what I hear, where it's like Venus decides to dive into the underworld and Anna's like, hey, you know what? I don't know that I need to go down there right now. I'm going to hang out over here. And Venus is all like, hey, Pluto, like I want to bring my light into your destructive situation so that you can like let me shine in all the fucking ways instead of just being pretty and being this and being that, but that all my like where my dark parts get to shine the fuck out. And then Anana's just like, yeah, I don't have to, I'm bullshit that I have to give up my skin and do this for a hot minute. You know what? I'm going to choose different. I'm going to shine and still be the girl who can do all that. Like, that's what I hear. And that's like, it's rewriting our stories. Like right now that's such a big through line with we're rewriting how we do us, how I live my life, how I identify myself as who I am. And how I do what I do, and I let whatever wants to chip away, like Pluto. I mean, I am a Taurus. My son is in Taurus, so he's like my best bud and has been for a really long time. These past COVID situation, because he's been just like with me for a while, and I love him because he's like that destruction. We're gonna blast all the shit off you. We're gonna completely unroot you and completely change everything you know about yourself. Transformational God. Like he seems harsh. Because he's Hades, god of death, right? Like this is again something that most people have a conditioning that this is scary. It's hell. You're bad. We're all gonna die. But it's like honestly, no. His fire wants to burn away the pieces of myself that I would shame, deny, pretend don't exist, so that I can be whole. Mm-hmm. And can I say yes to that? Take his hands and go, let your fire burn it all fucking down. Let your fire burn the fuck off of me, of all this old bullshit and crap that is not the truth of who the fuck I am. Part of what just had come through for me these past 2 weeks that I didn't even realize, because I'm still learning this on a deeper level, is I do work in my body. And for people who don't know my story, I had a lot of abuse, and I had remembered flashbacks of sexual abuse, like 35, somewhere in there. And the minute that happened, my hair started falling out. And so I've been on this constant, like, don't let my hair fall out. I have to hold it in, and noticing what my body is doing with that. And so I go into my hair every once in a while, and I try to go like, what's going on? Oh, you're hiding, or you're this, or you're that, whatever. This last time I went in and I was like, let's go to the roots of my hair and see what they have to say. And I heard them say, you've been pretending to be the maiden ingenue when the truth is you're the dark goddess and you're not showing up as your true self. And I was like, oh my fuck. That is true. I'm still doing the like, get it right, say the right thing, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And the minute I accepted that self, there was this grief that came over me that was just like, oh my God. Here's another place that even though I know all this shit, right? Here's the mind. I know all this shit. I've been trained in this shit. I've actually been doing my work, but there's another level of unconsciousness in myself that I couldn't awake to until now. And the minute I said that, it was like this huge pressure released in my head. And I was like, holy fuck, my whole body had a different experience of being me. Light got brighter, colors got brighter. My eyes changed how they could see shit. I felt my inner gut, like all this inspiration started coming to me. Everything was creative. And I was like, this is my body literally showing me how we shut ourselves down from the creative source and how the body, mind, spirit connection, like felt sense in my body works together. I've never had this experience. And so now I was like, okay, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to show up in my dark goddess because I've been so shut down for so long. That if I give it to my mind to figure out how to do it, I know that's not going to go well. So I will simply say, yes, you are right. Yes, I accept this. And I will wait for you to show me or let my body show me how the fuck to show up as the authentic me. All I can do is say yes. That's the only control I have in this moment. And after I said that, girlfriend showed up in some really interesting conversations with my mother about religion. And my mother is a very fundamentalist Christian who says she believes a lot of stuff, but she's really a lot of fear. And I am a, pagan heathen that believes all this crap, but really we believe the same thing. And these words that without going through this whole conversation, because I'm talking long enough here, but it was the first real conversation we had because I could simply point out, you're giving me your fear, and I'm not interested in fear. I see you're living in fear. This is your choice. I'm not going to take that from you. And don't make me wrong, because she kept trying to get me to change my behavior so she wouldn't have to be afraid, because she's holding that mother energy. And I was like, I'm not going to hold this for you. And my dad was like, well, how else is there to live? And I was like, faith, baby. You guys go to church every Sunday. I'm over here having faith, living my life by the seat of my pants. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just going, yeah, I'm saying yes to this moment. I don't know how this is going to work out. And you're over here trying to control everything, preaching to people on Sunday. I'm like, we got to even that out. But the fact that I was able to do it with an open heart, not make them wrong or bad, that somehow these words just came out of my mouth like, I love you, and this is not what I'm interested in. I don't want to have this relationship with you based on fear, was like, whoa. And then I was like, okay, she showed up. I didn't have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, yes, please, I'll have more of that. Whoever this awesome thing is that showed up inside of me.
Yeah. It's super. I just love that. I love that you had a super awesome thing show up inside of you.
It's so
And
cool.
that is really what is on tap with the big changes we're in,
Yep.
is allowing that holding to die.
Yep.
Allowing it to let go, to disincarnate, essentially. That energy became disincarnate. It died so that something else could incarnate through you.
Yes.
Like
Without my doing anything about it.
Yes. And that's really what we're in. And so as we continue to move into this eclipse season and into the eclipse peduncle between the 25th and the 8th, how are, I would love to tell you that things are going to get rosier and easier and spacious.
That's not what's on offer, according to
really how I do things. I'm not a flap my hands and be like, it's all wonderful. Becca's just laughing because she knows that's how I roll. It's going to get tight. It's going to get tight. And as we go into that peduncle, that tight squeeze, the less we're hauling with us.
Yes.
The more we can soften and disincarnate whatever gets birthed out that other end, is that much more ours.
Yeah.
We are that much more ours.
100%, woman. Yes. And I love that you're talking about when you're saying that. I'm not familiar with Pinochle other than a game I can play, but it's like when you're talking.
It's peduncle.
Oh, peduncle?
Peduncle is so you've got a funnel.
Yeah.
The peduncle is the skinny part of the funnel.
Oh, okay. I thought you said pinochle, and I was like, what? I totally misunderstood that. But what I love about this is like it's akin to, healing alcoholism, or not that you ever really heal it because it doesn't go away, or drug addiction, where it's like you hear these people say, until I hit rock bottom, I didn't know how to surrender. That's what this is. Like, it's a crunch where it's like, yeah, that canal gets narrower and narrower and narrower because it's cutting off all your escape routes. It's cutting off all the ways you know to escape, so that you have no choice but to face the absolute fucking truth of who you are and embrace yourself. Because once you do that, then now you get to be the fullness of who you are.
Oh, yeah, so good. I think we're just gonna let that be the mic drop. Unless you have any other pieces.
No, I love talking about this shit. Like, I could talk about this forever. But it's just because it's like there's so much to say, and there's so much, everybody has so many different experiences, and I just like, I want to be able to give value to the people that need it, and I want to be able to know how, like, where to hit and give that to them so that they can feel a little more sane or a little less crazy or let go a little bit more. And it's just so hard to do that in like an hour. It's like, how can I give you everything I know?
I know it's a constant problem there. So like I'm just in such deep like release, death, be conscious about it
Yeah.
business right now that yeah, I can't talk. There's not enough to be said about it.
Yep.
And especially with our collective fear of death. And as a result of having a fear of death, we have this fascinating death trauma wish.
Interesting.
Like it's a collective piece that because we fear death, therefore death must be traumatic,
Mm.
which is why we see so much traumatic death,
Well,
so many
yeah.
long drawn out death processes, is because that is what we're manifesting rather than a consciousness around it. You know, I I went into birthing my child with a lot of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I had my three touch words, which were trust, as in trust that my body can do this,
Mm-hmm.
have faith that my head doesn't know, but this goes back to the trust your body can
Mm.
do, and just surrender to the process. And,
Hell yeah.
I was a 34-year-old first time mom who was in labor, including pushing for like 12 hours and 34 minutes. And I did
Nice.
20 minutes of pushing. And the average first time mom pushes for 2 hours.
Yeah.
But I was conscious and I was so deeply present
Mm-hmm.
with what was going on.
Yeah.
You know, I know you will understand this, Becca, but when you're so deeply in the Bardos,
Mm-hmm.
like you're just so deep in
Mm-hmm.
that you're so present that you don't actually pull a memory with you.
Yes. 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 Yes.
It's that, and we can have that with our whole lives.
Yes.
We can have that with how we die, and just as we can choose when a child is conceived,
Mm-hmm.
and we can be present when that child chooses to be born,
Mm.
we can choose when we're ready to die.
Yes.
If we have consciousness around it, and we can shift the collective death trauma wish.
I love that. Yeah. That's beautiful. And it's so true. And I mean, yeah, everything you just said. It's just, fuck yeah. I mean, that's what's on offer is that
Yeah.
being so present that I'm basically touching divinity or in relationship with divinity because that's what presence does. And I know presence has become a buzzword, which pisses me off because I don't know how else to point to it. But it's noticing when I'm present, how does it feel to be present in my body? Like, what is the felt sense happening? So for me, it's like I use my gut, where it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, I notice when it's like I have like this 2D fuzzed out vision because I'm like, okay, I'm staring at this plant and it's like, oh yeah, plant. Okay, I'm making a list of things I have to do later today and da da da, all unconsciously in my mind. But it's like if I really look at that plant and I just go, how does this, how am I experience? What is my experience of staring at this color green on this plant showing up on my body right now? It's like, whoa! All of a sudden, I can feel like my whole fucking core light up. Now I'm like, This is not just a question for the mind to answer, and hey, I can even think about the list I have to do later. It is, I am having a relationship with the energy of this plant, not because my mind told me to fucking do it, but because I opened up to it and allowed my body to have an experience of what am I looking at, and it's just fucking divinity. I can't explain it any other way because it's how do you explain shit that's happening in the body with the mind? It's just an experience, like looking at a sunset and you're dropped to your knees in awe, going, "Holy fuck, there must be a god." This is that same thing, and it's like you can be in that space exactly like you said all
Yeah.
day. This is what's on offer without
Yes,
having to
we can do it.
try.
And yeah, there's just so many buzzwords right now. We could do a whole nother hour on all of the keywords that people just don't actually understand what they mean. And maybe we'll get that scheduled
next time. I know, I was just gonna say next time. We'll have to do that next time.
So with that, thank you so much for being here, Becca. For those of you that want to contact Becca for any reason, I will have her contact information down below in the video description. Leave us your questions, your comments, your dedications, your requests. If there's something you want to hear us pick apart, let us know, because we can do this.
Yes, I love doing that shit.
So sending you fierce love, and until next time.
Thank you.